2, first start off by copying these notes down. So I know we've talked about in class, but you're going to want to 3D box this just because it's super foundational to everything. So take a moment, pause the video, write this stuff down. Now, as we've talked about, if it's a y squared and positive parabola, that means it'll open to the right. And that's because this is where the positive x values are laying. If it's negative, it opens left. And that's because that's where all the negative x values are. And you flip your thinking around, x squared goes up because that's where the positive y values are. And negative x squared goes down. That's where the negative y values are. And of course, let's recap P. That is the distance from vertex to focus and vertex to the directrix. Now let's actually do a couple of problems. It says analyze this equation. So first, notice how this looks nothing like either of these, which means you have to make it into this. And the way you do that is through a method you already know, complete the square. So notice how the term right here is x squared. I'm going to leave that on the left, x squared plus 4x, and move the 4y over. Now I'm going to complete the square. So I'm going to add 4 to each side, and now we're good to go. That's x plus 2 squared. That's equal to 4 quantity y plus 1. And there we go. For our class, we're going to call this standard conic form, meaning we want it to be in this form so we can analyze it. So there'll be other conics, and this will be a generic term that we use to get it to the form we want to work with. Now, after we've done that, we're going to graph it. So I'm going to make my info box here. And let's note a couple things. The vertex I already know is -2, 1. I don't know my focus yet. I don't know my LR. I don't know my directrix. But looking at this, I can see it's x squared positive. So my mental picture is something like this. It should be going up. And I can see that this 4p right here, that's 4. So if 4p is 4, p should be 1, which is really helpful. Now that I have that, let's do a quick sketch. So the vertex is -2, 1. So let's go 1, 2, 1. There's our vertex. The mental picture is helpful because that means I'm going to be going up, which means the focus should be 1 up. So I got my focus right here. Focus is -2, 0. That would mean the directrix is 1 down. So I'm going to add that here. So there's my directrix. That's y equals -2. And now let's make our parabola. If this is 1, that means our LR points are 2 away because that's 2 times 1. So 1, 2, LR, 1, 2, LR. And we're going to sketch our parabola like so. All right, so there's our point. And the LR points, you want to use, you got to make one coordinate. So we're going to use kind of focus to help us. I can see that the y coordinate is 0 in both directions, but the x coordinate we're going to write -2 plus or minus 2. So notice how -2 is from the focus, and you're just saying move left 2 and right 2. That way we can condense it to one nice coordinate like that. And that's it. We fully analyzed it. Here's all our information, graph, and we're good to go. Let's try one more here. I'm going to notice how the y squared is right here, so I'm going to keep that stuff on the left. So y squared minus 4y, that's negative 4x minus 4. Complete the square, so add 4 to each side there. So that's y minus 2 squared, that's equal to negative 4x. If you want, you can factor it out so it looks like this, but that's not really necessary, but some people do like to do this. That's more of a personal preference. Okay, from here, let's finish the problem. Let's make our info box. So I have my vertex, I know, would be 0, 2. My focus, we don't know yet. LR, don't know. Directrix, don't know yet. But our mental picture, this is y squared negative, which means in our mind we're thinking, okay, this should be opening to the left. And I can see that I have a negative 4 there, so negative 4 should equal negative 4p, so p should be 1. Okay, with that, I can figure everything out. Let's do a quick sketch here. The vertex is 0, 2, so 1, 2. If I'm opening to the left, that means the focus should be on the left, and p is 1. So just move 1 left. There's our focus, which would be negative 1, 2, which means the directrix is 1 to the right. So I'll put that right here. dtx, that's x equals 1. And my LR points, if p is 1, I'm just going to go 2 in each direction. 1, 2, 1, 2, LR, LR, and then sketch. And there's our parabola. Let's make it into one nice coordinate using the focus. So I can see the negative 1 is constant, and then 2 plus or minus 2. So negative 1 right here, up 2, down 2. That's what this is saying. And we got it. Now for our last example, it says find the equation of a parabola. So for this one, the main thing to know is don't assume that's an LR. We really don't know that. If it tells it to you, great, but all these problems is probably not going to be one. So that's just a regular point. That's any given point on a parabola. What you do know is that is the vertex. And we can see that it's a negative y squared parabola because it's opening left and it's negative. Which means for our equation, we can start here. Y minus k squared is equal to negative 4p x minus h. We have the vertex, let's plug it in. That's y minus 1 squared is equal to negative 4p, and this would be x minus 2. So notice we're pretty close to the formula. We just don't know p. All we have is that single point right here. So what do we do every time a situation like this arises? Simply plug the point in. So plug in 1 and 0. So 0 minus 1 squared, that's negative 4p. That'd be 1 minus 2. That's 1 is equal to 4p. So p is a quarter, or you can think of it as 4p is 1. Either way, this is fine. Now we're going to plug that into here to make our equation. So y minus 1 squared, that's equal to, if p is a quarter, that's just negative 1 x minus 2. And there's our answer. And we can verify it pretty easily. The vertex is 2, 1. We can see that. And plug in 1, you should get 0. If I plug in 1 right here, I get negative 1 times negative 1. That's 0 minus 1 squared. And this is definitely true, because this would be 1 is equal to 1. So this definitely checks out.